The RWA landscape has cracked $25 billion. And everybody is asking now, well, is it too late to get involved? What do I do? What asset do I get into? Well, I pulled from RWA.xyz over this week, and I'm going to share with you the data for individual sectors of the RWA market. As you can see, guys, RWA Global Market Overview, very healthy. Total RWA on-chain value up 7.4% over the last month. That's pretty amazing. And this is before the current price rally that we're seeing now. Total holders also up about 80%. So this is very healthy. Stablecoin value in RWAs, $243 billion. That's impressive, guys. So let's begin to dig into the individual areas of the RWA world. Now, we're not going to look into private credit because Ethereum dominates private credit. So if you're holding Ethereum, good for you, okay? You're leading the RWA space. But let's talk about some of the other assets that may be at better price points for you to really get a profit from. Looking at top net inflows, this is for U.S. Treasuries over the last 30 days, guys. This chart reveals some very interesting information. Primarily, why is there $65 million going out of the BIDL fund for BlackRock? To my understanding, I know these treasuries tend to work like stable coins. So there could be selling going on to make investments elsewhere or to support liquidity in other environments. I don't know it all, but I'm just giving you what I'm looking at on the surface. You go to the top of this chart, though, you see players like Wisdom Tree, Franklin Temp, Superstate, Ondo, who has been bringing in a lot of money in the last 30 days. Primarily, Wisdom Tree, 152 million. Benji, another 52 million. That's a little over $200 million in the last 30 days. And guess where all of that money is being stored and held and transacted? Stellar. Beautiful thing to see. I don't need Stellar to constantly be in the news. I just need them to constantly be on the data charts. You get what I'm saying? So I don't worry about my Stellar investment for that very reason. They're handling the work behind the scenes. They don't need all the paparazzi, the glitz, the glamour, and the attention. They're doing their job, and that's all they're worried about. So if you want to capitalize on the U.S. Treasury RWA movement at a reasonable price point, best option, according to the numbers, Stellar. Okay? If you are fortunate enough to make a move into Ethereum, by all means, grab you some before it get even higher. Ondo would be another play. That's one that I'm definitely considering adding to my portfolio after things die down, okay? Because I don't want to come off bearish here. But let's not get too excited about this rally, okay? New all-time highs. I know the biggest, the largest. But let's keep it chill, guys, okay? Spike, I saw Spiko. I see them working with Chainlink, 10 million in inflows last 30 days. So that would be another way to get exposure to it. So if you're talking US Treasuries, as it stands right now, the leaders would be Ethereum, Stellar, Ondo, and Link. That looks pretty good to me. Now, let's talk about another section of the RWA market. Commodities, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, things like that being tokenized on the blockchain. When we take a look at the major players involved, Paxos, we know of, Tether, we know a lot of, Comtech Gold, that is your XDC offering. They have sustained their value in the market. Love to see that. Oris, don't know that much about. Wisdom Tree Digital Holdings. There's Wisdom Tree again. There's Stellar again. And then you have VNX. So when you break that down by network, ain't that many. So I think this particular pocket of the RWA space is one we can get the most value from. Because as you can see, there aren't that many incumbents. XDC, Stellar, Ethereum. 1 million to Stellar, 11 to XDC, 1.6 billion on Ethereum. But what we're dealing with here is the tokenization of hard assets. Once people get comfortable with the tokenization of soft assets, like your treasuries, private credit, what is the stocks, bonds, things of that nature, your soft assets, then the hard assets, that's when that will pick up momentum. And I'm pretty sure it won't just be these three by that time, maybe less than 12 months, maybe for the next cycle, that'll really be the thing. So when it comes to who's leading tokenized commodities, we got a nice little pocket of assets that we are very, very versed in. So much research on XDC, so much research on Stellar. Okay. Really going to have to start looking into Ethereum from an unbiased perspective. I know Ethereum gets a lot of heat, a lot of flack. I personally don't feel too comfortable investing in Vitalik because half the time I see him, he looks sickly. But that may be a personal thing. I don't want to, let's not get too deep into that. But nevertheless, if you're talking tokenized commodities, guys, those are your three. Now, another area of RWAs that has been very popular is tokenized stocks. And as you can see, not that many tokenized stocks as of yet. However, players like Kraken and gentleman we're going to hear from in just a few seconds, Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev, has been very vocal about tokenization on a mainstream level. But when it comes to the networks, guys, again, very small pocket of chains that are able to do this. Algo sits at the top, 285 million, followed by the XRP ledger, edging out Solana. Shout out to ArchX. Excuse me. When you dig around RWA.xyz and you explore the XRP ledger, you see that ArchX is putting in work. They are truly putting in work. And now we're sitting at $55 million on the ledger. The addition of the sidechain EVM smart contracts, that'll quadruple that number in no time, I promise you. Okay, Solana is gonna have to catch up. and here's another thing too. Take a look. Algorand and the ledger beating Ethereum when it comes to tokenized stocks, ladies and gentlemen. That's good to see. That's very good to see. So just to wrap this all up before we go to the clip with Robinhood CEO, some of the players in the RWA space at a reasonable price point, XRP, Stellar, XDC, Algo. You can even slide Chainlink and Solana in there, maybe even Avalanche. But as far as the core leaders, it's really just five: Algo, XRP, Stellar, XDC, and Ethereum. Yeah. So is it too late to get in? Absolutely not. Because as Mr. Tenev is going to express in this clip, the mainstream is just now catching up. Take a listen.
And I mean, you mentioned, launching this in the US as well. Is there a specific, regulatory change that you need in order to get this done?
Well, for tokenization in the US, we do believe that the SEC has the authority to make it happen without legislation, which is interesting. And you probably saw last week, Chairman Atkins of the SEC gave an interview about tokenization. He called it a great innovation. Mm-hmm. And we agree with that. We think tokenization is perhaps the biggest innovation to come into capital markets in the past decade. So I think the US shouldn't be far behind. I think the opportunity is too large to ignore, not just for retail, but also institutional. And I think they're keen. They're having tokenization roundtables at the SEC, which we've been a part of. So
how quickly can we expect
hard
it?
To predict.
Yeah.
I think the challenge with the US is we already have something that works. We have the traditional financial system. It's maybe not 24/7, which tokenization would allow, but it's 24/5. There's a lot of stakeholders that we have to make sure feel good about the change. I mean, we haven't even fully moved off of mainframe in the US. So I think it could take time, but I'd like to see the door opening for tokenization rather quickly. And I actually think our event should help accelerate that. Now that you see real products that are useful to customers with this fundamental technology, I think there's going to be more and more pressure for, industry partners around the world to adopt the technology.
The thing that I love about RWAs is, unlike NFTs, some meme coins, and even some projects that just pop up out of nowhere, RWAs are proving to be the next great use case for blockchain, much like stablecoins are. RWA is about to get ready to do that same thing. First soft assets, then hard